What's up guys, it's Tyrone2, and in this video I'll be critiquing my own average of 5 of 11.49 seconds. How this critique will work is I will be reconstructing the solve and just going through what I thought was good about my execution and that stuff. Then I will be doing a voiceover in slow motion, talking about just pauses and other general good things to know. And I average around high 11, so this is a decent average for me. And without further ado, let's get right into this. Alright, so for this first solve, it was a 9.43, and let's just get right into it. So scramble is F prime, L2, B prime, R prime, F prime, L, D prime, D2, R2, F prime, R2, B, D2, F prime, D2, B, D2, L prime, D prime. And what I did here was I went for yellow cross, and I see my cross pieces are here, 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 and down here. So I did first is align red and align green to its center at the same time. Put blue down and green in with an R2, and that sets up orange to go in. That's a pretty good cross in my opinion, but it also made this pair, which I did on accident, so I had a slight pause, I think, and I inserted it. And next, here. This is a really good pair. I could solve it in the back right in 7 moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? But I didn't end up doing that. I put it over here, broke it up, and I don't know why, but I probably thought that this was the pair I was going in. This was the slot I was going into, but it wasn't. So I did another U move, then inserted it with wide F moves. And that did end up giving me a better case, but you should never do a rotation where you don't need to, like I did there. So again, what I should have done is just insert it like that into the back. But what I did do is insert it like this, also into the back, but still pretty bad solution. Next, I had this pair. I paused a little bit because I didn't see it. I did a U prime, and then I saw it, and then I inserted it. Then I saw this pair, so I did it like this, which I could have, I did this finger trick 2 times. What I can do in this situation is something like a push, and then that finger trick. And that makes it flow much better, and it's just overall a better execution of that. This O, I did U2. I recognized the corners from 2x2. If I grab my 2x2 over here, my red. If I grab my 2x2 here, you can see if these two colors are opposite and this one isn't opposite or matching any of these two, then you know you're gonna get a corner skip. So I recognized that, so I knew I was gonna get a U perm or a Z perm. And I could have seen this too and saw that this was opposite and known that it couldn't have been a Z perm, but I'm not that smart. And if I did see this, I would know it was a U perm too, because the fact that these two are opposite too, but I'm not that smart. So I just did the OL, recognized PLL, and U perm just like so. Alright, so here I start the cross, and I could have done that D and U prime at the same time, but I didn't. And I had a double regrip to end the cross, which isn't very good. And I paused before inserting that, which is fine. And here's the one pair where I had bad execution. A pretty big pause before, and then my execution of the pair was not ideal, and also not very fast. Then on to the next pair, which I did a U prime, then I saw it, and then I inserted it into the front right. And the last pair is the double like hook finger trick, I guess you could call it, that I did. Not too big of a deal, but it's fine. that's a pretty good OLL recognition and pretty good execution. And pretty good PLL recognition as well. So all around, last layer, pretty good. But the first two layers was not the best. Okay, this next solve was an 11.25. And the scramble is B2, B2, U prime, L2, B2, L2, R2D, B2D, F2, B prime, L, U prime, L prime, R, D prime, F prime, R, D2. And in this solve, I ended up going for white cross. So for white cross, I did probably the simplest thing you can do is I did R prime, D prime, R prime, L2 to get all the cross edges in, and then D2. So again, that's R prime, D prime, R prime, L2, D2. It's a pretty good cross, except for the R and L moves at the same time, which is not ideal, but it's pretty good. And then what I did after that was I rotated, and the next pair I did was this pair. And I think I saw this in inspection. I'm not sure. I did not see this in inspection, actually, but I did U2, rotated, and inserted this one in a front slot, like so. That was a bad finger trick. What you should always do is try to solve back slots first. So what I could have done is done the same exact solution from the back and gotten a much better pair out of it. But I did it into the front, and then I did this pair next, and again I rotated and did it as a front slot, which isn't quite the best. And then from here, what I could have done is this pair next, because this pair is nice, and it brings this one into the top layer, which makes for a much nicer case. But I did this pair instead, doing it like a U prime first, then F from U prime F, then insert it. And then with this pair, I did it from the back like this. I did wide F move like this, regripped as I was doing this, and insert it into the back. Now, what I should have done is recognize the OLL before doing any AUFs, but what I ended up doing in the solve was U2 prime U2, U2 prime U2, because I did recognize that this corner case would solve the corners, but for some reason I did a U2 first, probably because thinking about, like, if these two edges were oriented, just imagine there's yellow on top of these two edges, then doing the OLL from here would solve the corners. But it's for this algorithm, what I do solves the corners from the back. I got a PLL skip, and this solve was quite bad, having a lot of unnecessary pauses in it, and some other stuff that wasn't ideal. But the PLL skip kind of saved it, and that was an 11.25 second solve. Okay, so here I'm doing my cross solution, which I start R prime, D prime, R prime, which is pretty smooth, regripping, and then doing the L2 and the D2, which I could have avoided a regrip there and done it slightly differently, but there I had a pretty big pause before going into my second pair. You see, I'm doing my second pair at 3 seconds, and then looking around, because I solved the front slot and it's hard to look ahead to that, I saw the next pair, and I solved that, and I immediately saw the next pair. I think I looked ahead to it, but I think the other pair would have been easier to look ahead to, but still. And here I see the last pair, which I should have been keeping track of, but I wasn't. And pretty smooth execution of that pair. And 8 seconds F12, which is pretty slow. And the U2 prime U2, nothing bad. Then my execution of this OLL right there, I got a lockup, which didn't affect the solve too much. Then I recognize PLL skip, U2, and stop the timer. Okay, so for this third solve, this is the worst solve of the average. It's an 18.63. It is pretty bad, and the scramble is R2, F2, R2, B2, D, R2, B2, D2, U, B2, U2, B2, R prime, B2, B, R, F prime, D, B2, L2, R2. So in this scramble, I think I ended up going for yellow cross. Yep, I started white top, red front, and you can see these two cross edges are already in the bottom. And what I did was D, so I could replace orange with this green edge, R prime F, R2, to insert blue with orange, D prime, R prime, and then I regripped and did D2 prime. What I could do is D2 like this while regripping, so like this, but I did not do that. And then what I did was I did a U2 because I was probably looking for pieces, saw this pair, U prime, inserted it, made a misturn, doing an accidental double flick, turning back, and just inserting the pair. Then next pair I did was I thought that this corner went with this edge. So what I did was I inserted it like how I would with that case normally, and then I paused. Looking for pieces, and then I saw this, then I took it out, rotated, put it in the back, which putting it in the back is pretty good. Then I have this pair, and I did this pair like so, regripless, pretty good, U2 Y prime, and inserting this one, which is decent F2L if I didn't have that miss pair. And then I did U prime U before starting this algorithm, or U prime, I don't remember, and it gives you the same PLL any way you hold it, because this one goes here, this one goes here, this goes here, and this goes here. But I, being the dumb child I am, did this, and then did this, and then went back so I could do the algorithm from here, which is like that. And then I end up with an A-perm, and I do my A-perms like lefty A-perms, so I can D2 flick, like ring middle, and then I have like a soft regrip here and kind of just like push with my hand while holding this back layer, and kind of weird. I don't really know what my A-perms are, kind of weird, but that is the 18.63. Alright, so now I'm just starting my cross here, just a little wait before the solve start, but here I start my cross, do my cross solution, isn't too bad of a solution, but there's that regrip D2. And then here I D2 immediately because I was looking for pieces. Look to the back, all that. Then I pause, go into my first pair. Have a slight misturn, like so. And I go back, do there. And here's the mispair that I did. Thinking one corner went with a different corner. And that was muscle memory, so I didn't see it. And then I had a really, really, really big pause here. Just like trying to see what I did. And it was like a 1.5 second pause, or a 2-second pause, which is not very good. Then you here put it into the back slot, the pair in. Then I saw the green-orange pair in the front. Another pause because I was looking for pieces. And insert into the back. And a slight misturn there. And insert this into the back, and I insert it into the back so I could avoid doing lefty moves, which I usually don't like. And then here, so UU prime or whatever it was. Yeah, UU prime. You can see I went to start the algorithm from the other angle and then went back and did the algorithm. Slight lockup. Another misturn. And PL recognition. I saw that it was an A-perm, and I executed the A-perm with a small lockup, but it didn't really matter. And then finishing off the solve with an 1863. Okay, this next solve is a 12.40, and the scramble is R2, B2, R2, B2, D2, L2, B prime, D2, R2, B prime, L2, D, F, L, F prime, R prime, B2, D2, F, L prime, F2. And I went for white cross on the solve. I saw this white edge, and this white edge, this white edge, and this white edge. Those are my cross pieces. So what I did was I did D prime, U prime, then R prime, F, L2. So for this cross, it ended up preserving this pair, which I don't know if I saw an inspection, but if I do it a different way, this pair would have been much easier to see in an inspection, and I could have done L2 first and F, and then had this decent case. It's easy to track an inspection, so that is a pretty good case for me because I'm not very good at looking for stuff in inspection. But I did F move first like this. I have this crosspair paired up. Then I went into the next pair, which was this one, and I don't know if I predicted it from inspection. I probably didn't. Yeah, because I paused before seeing this, kind of like looked around. U2, insert it into the back. I did not use those finger tricks, but yeah. Then next pair I did was these two. And I did U2 prime, U2 prime, U prime. I did a U5 prime. Well, I actually rotated and then did those, but yeah, and then I inserted it into back pretty good. Then I thought this pair, I saw this pair next, but I thought it went in the front slot, so I did this. But this is a pretty good 2 slot to look ahead to. So I did this. This comes out, so I just went in pauseless, U2, and for this case, what I do is I just take this pair out, solve it normally, and then cancel into reinserting that pair. Then I have a anti-student case, which what I should have done is like an anti-student from there, because this block is here. But I did a back student from here, and it ended up with a G-perm just from here. And for this G-perm, I used, because I was at this angle, I used the double flick one, which was admittedly not the best choice algorithm to use in this case, because, well, it was a pretty good choice. It would be a good choice if I was actually good at the algorithm, but since I'm not very good at this algorithm, because like 2 seconds G-perm of all time, PL algorithm should be fast, but that PLL was not very good. But I did get a 1240 on that solve, even with the mispair. And on to the next solve. Not on to the next solve yet. Let's review the solve. Okay, so here we're gonna start the cross. And again, pretty decent cross solution. And regrouping there, yeah. Slight pause before I saw the next pair I was gonna do. Rotated, put it into a back slot. Back slots most of the time pretty good. And here is the U2 prime, U2 prime, U prime. I guess I didn't rotate before I did that, but still. And then I solved that into the back. And here's where I did the mispair. I paired it up wrong and inserted it into the wrong slot, recognizing the case by edge orientation instead of like pairing it up. And here's the pretty fast last two pairs. As you can see, my cancellation into the inserting the other one. Here I recognized, did a back soon, slight lockup, but that's completely fine. And here I recognize, and here's the G perm, which I'm not very good at, as you can see by the fact that I'm pretty bad at double flicks that quickly. But overall, this is a pretty decent solve besides the mispair. And on to the next solve. Okay, so if this last solve was a 10.83, and this count was B2, D2, F prime, B prime, R, D, L, F prime, U, L2, U2, B2, R2, U prime, L2, D prime, L2, U2, F. So for the cross, I went for yellow cross, and I saw that this pair was made, so I wanted to preserve it during the cross. So I noticed that I can solve yellow, red, blue, and orange by going R, like L prime, F prime, R prime, like this. And then I could do the last one by just doing that. But what I ended up doing was I held it here, and to keep this pair preserved, I did an M move like this for some reason, so that it would act like R, L prime to preserve this, F, R prime. To save this, I did these at the same time, did that, and then that. Then I knew this pair was going to be here, so I went into it like so, and then this pair I did next. What I can do for this pair, since this slot is open, I can break it up like that and cancel in, but I took it over here, paired it like so, and put it in here. Next, I saw this pair. I think I had a slight pause here. Yep, I had a slight pause, looked at the back, but I did it like this. For this pair, I rotated and did this as a back slot, which doing this with arm moves is much nicer. I don't know why I just rotated to a back slot. It's just a habit I have. Then I went to back soon, which gave me an R perm. So I did U2. I used the RUD R perm. So it's R U prime R prime U prime R U R D R prime U prime R D prime R prime U2 R prime. And then AF is U. And how I know this is because when doing this algorithm, this corner stays in the same place. So to solve this corner, you're going to do U prime. And I meant U prime earlier. And I went like this, and then went right into the AF and stopped the timer. And that is the 10.83. Okay, so here we have the M move start. And as you can see, I do the M move with that weird finger trick, like that. Reset my finger, and then do the next move. Kind of overshoot that. I could have done those two moves at the same time, but didn't do that. And here, since I planned that parent inspection, inserted it, looked ahead to the next pair. So I did it with almost no pause, looked to the back, saw the next pair, insert it into the back, and then do this next pair as a back slot after a slight pause. And I have F2L done at around 7 seconds, and I'll do my back soon here. And then recognize that it's an R perm. U2, execute the R perm, slight lockup, but that's not too bad. And stop the timer. And there's the 10.83 to finish off the 11:49 average. So just a little summary of what I personally have learned by critiquing my own solves. So one, I gotta learn not to mispair, like making pairs like this that are not correct. And two, I gotta work on not locking up during PLL, so like fluidity. And three, I need to work on looking ahead better and having less pauses. So I definitely recommend you guys to critique your own solves. Record them, watch them in slow motion, reconstruct them, all that stuff to see what your bad habits are, because it's a lot easier to fix your bad habits if you have them addressed in the first place. And that is why I did this video. So I hope you guys can learn from what I did, and also learn for yourselves by critiquing your own solves. And I'll see you later.